Thank you, Mr. Chair, Council. Today we pray for a membership, families, all the people that aren't doing as well. Prayers for our families downriver that are dealing with the loss. Prayers for all of our community members here that lost loved ones recently. Prayers for healing and closure for them. Prayers for that we can give support to those in need. Prayers for our weather and cool off a little bit now. It's been enough. Thankful for the late spring we had and everything that we have up in the mountains right now. It's growing. Hopefully it cools off enough to let them grow the way they should. Prayers for all of our water. Thankful that we have what we do. Prayers for the people out there that have animosity or ill will. Prayers for our leaders, both in Indian country and across the nation. A lot of uncertainty out there, and prayers that we can get mobilized and have some continuity in who we're going to vote for. Thankful for all my colleagues. Prayers for all of them, all of our workers. Prayers for all of our friends, all of our enemies, and everyone in between. So much.
Thank you, Martin. We have minutes from July 16th. We could go to those, please. Motion by Carol to approve July 16th minutes. Tom, you got a correction?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just then, towards the end of the minutes, Tom McDonald, from council, his brother received a ballot in the mail. It was a absentee ballot reminder request from the state Department of Human Services. Is that what they're called, Carol? It was for those people qualify for Medicaid, and which I thought was really pretty interesting and was a good thing that they were doing that. Just wanted to make sure people knew that that was out there if they haven't registered to vote or registered for absentee. It was both of those items. So it was a letter from the state office of whatever. Close enough. Thank you. And I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Tom. Motion by Carol, second by Tom. Any other corrections? All in favor? Got unanimous. Thank you. We have an agenda. You have 3 walk-ins? Others? Jennifer?
Yeah, I have something for executive, but it doesn't have to be this morning. It can be later.
Tom?
Yeah, just one quick thing for executive. It'd have to be this morning.
If there aren't anything else, I'd look for a motion by Tom to accept the agenda with additions. Second by Carol. All in favor? We're unanimous. And so let's go to our first walk-in.
It's a quick thing with Brenda Ritchie that wanted to update you guys really fast.
Morning, Brenda. Good to see you.
I pushed the wrong side. Right hand, not left. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me just a few moments of your time. I just wanted to bring to your attention a conference that our office is putting on next Thursday, August 1st, and to extend a personal invitation to you guys. I know that your schedule is jam-packed and you may not be able to attend, but I just wanted to extend that personal invitation. So our office has been collaborating with the Montana Partnership to End Childhood Hunger in Montana. Not to be confused with No Kid Hungry, they are two separate entities, Mount Peck for short. We have been working across the reservations in all public schools with an invite to collaborate with food service directors to say, how do we come together? How do we provide you through education things that you need? Some things that they've requested is like simple grant writing skills. How do we apply for grants for something that our kitchen or our school needs? So we are working across the reservation with multiple school districts. And this is the first of what I hope will become an annual event, bringing everybody together into this collaborative experience. One of the things that I know long-term big dreams is that this collective would then gain buying power. So when we talk about bringing local Montana homegrown or indigenous foods to our children in the public school system, sometimes it's cost preventative. We're not able to do that, and our food service directors are letting us know that. So how do we make it happen? Collectively, for example, if they were to go to a Montana beef producer, I'll pick beef, and say, hey, we would like X number pounds of hamburger. Well, that producer, maybe that only fills like a quarter of a truck. So it's not cost effective for him or her to be able to ship that or sell it that way. But collectively, if I said, I have 5 schools and they'll each take a quarter of a truck, that's more than full, that's more than 100, right? So if I have 4 schools and they'll take a quarter of a truck, we fill the truck and it becomes cost effective to feed our children from home. So I know that some of the long-term goals of starting this organization and these trainings. With that, Lunch, thank you. I just wanted to invite you if you were able to come. And I did have a flyer that I think got passed out to you guys. So next Thursday, August 1st. It does start early. Kayan Miller, who was the food service director for Montana State University, was also their sous chef and is an Indigenous person who is going to be creating breakfast for us. So we are starting early for that purpose. And then the gentleman that is the food service director for Nakusum is preparing lunch for us. And I hear that bison is on the menu. So when they asked if I was staying for lunch, I said, yes, choose me. But again, thank you very much for your time. I know you guys are super busy. I hope that 1 or 2 or 3 of you, maybe all of you, can come over even for lunch. So let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Next, Donna Richard.
Hey, come on up, Donna. Good morning. Were you wanting executive or just open? Sort of. I don't know if we got a sort of executive.
So I sent everyone,
Yeah, we'll go out of regular.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. They're wanting to do a grand opening on the August 16th or the 18th, depending on when we could fit that schedule, or whoever wants to go from the travel council. Either one of the days will work for me. Carol said she's fine, and Bing with those days, so we'll figure out one day and I'll let them know.
Cool.
So it'd be nice to have everybody show up. Be pretty cool thing, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Guess we're ready for John and crew. Good morning, Sadie, John. Good morning. Lisa's hiding in the back.
Oh, Lisa, come on.
Morning, Dan.
Morning, everyone.
Well, we're here this morning to look for approval for addition to the longhouse and remodel of the bathrooms. We'll be adding about 1,936 square feet. There'll be curation, storage, and a couple of offices, and then redoing the bathrooms to make them usable and a few more stalls for during the wakes, as it's always been a problem. And the original plans had classrooms on the north end, but Sadie has taken them off and is going to use trailers for the time being. And anyhow, we're looking for approval on 953,436 for the addition and remodel of the bathrooms.
Any questions? Jimmy, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Hey, John, would that change, would they change the style of those toilets? I mean, the way they drain and the way you have to work on them all the time? Or is there a different style that they can go to?
What kind are in there? Are they residentials? Or just residentials? They'll probably go to commercial ones.
It just seems like it takes a lot of maintenance on them, a lot of work on them. And then one guy doing it, you know, it takes a lot of time.
Right.
Thank you.
I didn't look at the specs, but we can ask for commercial toilets.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Martin.
Does this address the items that are stored down there? Getting a firewall and everything, or something to protect those a little more?
Yes.
Go ahead, Carol.
Architect,
Jacola?
and do you have a design?
Yeah, we do. I don't know if it's in here.
What I'm worried about is a roof that comes in like this. And, not, I don't know who did that tribal health, but I know we talked about it in council about not having that, and then this is what we ended up with. So I think whoever is managing this, I would like to see what we're adding on, where we're adding on with a schematic or a footprint or something that, so we know.
Okay, if we do have full plans, I'll bring a set over.
I just need one picture. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
So I can get an idea of how you're doing it. I mean, it sounds good. I just don't know exactly how you're doing it.
So just so you know, I've been working with the architects all the way through the process, so, and the plans look very well. They're not designed that way. We made sure of that, so good. And they're on the south end, so it'll just be a build out on the south end for the repository. So they're moved away from the kitchen.
Okay, so it'll be on the other side of like where the offices are out?
It'll be on the south end, so it'll close that road off where the dry meat rack is. So you,
See, I'm not even, I just need a picture. Just a little one.
yeah. So it'll just build out, Carol. So normally, on the end where we have elders meetings, where I'm usually sitting on that south end, on that end down there, it'll just be built out.
Okay.
Out from
Fine.
there, and close that road off that goes through there. And then our repository, all of our collections items will be moved onto that end down there. Yep, and then most of our language programs, so our teachers, language program manager will move into the area I'm in, where my office is at. And then our mobile classrooms will then be moved onto that other end right next to the language nest. And that's where our 2 classrooms will be for our language program.
Motion by Martin to approve the building of the addition to the longhouse. Second by Jimmy. Any other thoughts? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Sadie. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Jasmine, come on up. Morning. You'll need to push the button and there you go, right there.
Okay. This is Philip White, Senior. We just hired him in our pesticide program. He's tribal from here, associated more with Elmo Kootenays, but I think he's Salish and Kootenai. Anyways, he'll be one of our new pesticide circuit rider inspectors. So he's in training. One of our requests today, we serve on the Tribal Pesticide Program Council. If you guys want to look up their website, it's tppcwebsite.org. I'm actually the chairperson of this for the past few years. And it's basically a bunch of tribes across the nation come together twice a year, and we discuss pesticide issues that are affecting all tribes. And then we'll work with EPA or other federal agencies on different policies or what can be done to help all tribes across the nation, because a lot of tribes don't have programs. So they're only relying on federal law. Anyways, to get our travel covered, we have to be authorized members of the group. And so we're just asking for approval for Phil to become an authorized member. And then that way they'll cover flights and hotels and travel to these meetings. So that's our request today. And this isn't obviously not government to government consultation. This group just literally provides feedback on other issues, pesticide related. And then if there are things, we would bring it back to council for your guys's input or request for consultation. So, yeah.
How to handle the bugs. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to see you, Jasmine.
You too.
Philip, congratulations on your job, and I'm sure under the guidance of Jasmine, you'll do very well, and she'll probably keep a pretty tight rein on you for a while. So, with that, Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion to approve the request.
Motion by Tom, second by Carol. Oh, go ahead, Carol.
I know you take all the precautions, but is that a discussion within your group? Is the precautions that you take using chemicals and pesticides? I mean, you see all these law firms out there trying to get people with Roundup and all this stuff that has been affected by that. And so I'm just wondering, are there new techniques that you're now using, or are there other things? It's pretty scary stuff if you don't cover up and take care of yourself.
So I do share class actions. Like I know Parkinson's is related to paraquat, which is a lot of people working the potato fields have. Cancer with Roundup. And, we do track those things. As far as EPA goes, their risk assessments are filled with gaps. And they're going off of data from the 80s. They're not going off of current research. So our group does work on the risk assessments. We're trying to get tribal, so they have a subpopulation, Spanish subpopulation that are higher risk. And we are trying to get a tribal designation for a tribal subpopulation that will bump us up, saying
we use things differently than the general society. We put grass in our mouths when we braid, we do different activities, we smoke, or we smudge, we do things that normal society isn't doing, so our exposures are different. But yeah, we work on it. Where it's gonna end up, we're trying to get EPA to put better restrictions or mitigations, as they call them, on labels, but it's really hard to get manufacturers to change anything. It ends up being a money game rather than a human health concern, which is unfortunate, but yeah, it's in our scope of this group to do that. And one of the good things is, so one tribe, it gives the tribe a voice of 500 tribes, and so it doesn't fall back on one tribe taking on the fight. So that's kind of a benefit too.
I think I just want to say I care about you and
Yeah.
don't want anything to happen, so the more precautions, the better. So, and congratulations on your job, Mr. White.
Yeah, thanks, Carol.
So, was that a second or not? All in favor? Well, it looks unanimous. Philip, you're approved representative. Thank you. Good job.
Thanks, Chairman. Thank you, Council.
Have a good day, guys.
You want a quick break till Ann gets here at 10:10? Oh,
Yep, we can take a quick break. Ten. Tom is on PTO till this afternoon now. I think we're ready for you, Ann. Come on up. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you for seeing me. I'm asking for permission today to amend our organizational chart. We are adding 2 positions and redefining 1 position. The redefined position is the caretaker position at the Morning Star. We have not been successful in filling that. So we redefined it to a safety support position, which will be a person working some of the time with Stephen, our services coordinator, doing some case management duties, but also flexing their time to be available after hours, to have a presence there after hours. The job description is written to give the option to live in, but I don't believe any of the applicants were interested in that. We would add a criminal defense attorney position, and we're able to fit that within our current target for our budget. And then we also would add the licensed addictions counselor position. Thanks for switching pages for me, Jen. And that is for Shanley Swanson, who has been working for us. She's contracted with Tribal Health, but placed in our office 10 hours a week. We were offered some funding from the Providence Foundation. We're still working on the MOU with them. And I think council had previously authorized her taking funding from Providence to have her in our office at least 3/4 time.
Go ahead, Carol. Motion by Carol, second by Martin. Martin, go ahead.
And yeah, thanks for everything you do. Greatly appreciated. You do a good job with our people with addiction and mental health issues, and you truly have a a family kind of setting over there. Borderline letting people kind of live there almost, sleep during the day for safety reasons and things like that. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm glad that we're kind of getting you staffed up enough, and hopefully the reentry program can continue to be a model that we use for other services, not just reentry from incarceration, maybe reentry from addiction treatment or those type of things, and really get our community healthy. And so, yeah, just thank you for everything you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Other questions, thoughts? Go ahead, Carol.
Question regarding, we talked about putting 3 little tiny homes over here for people to stay in. I don't know if that would work, but I'm almost thinking that, have we thought about maybe a 24-hour location where people can be? I mean, a lot of them have mental health issues, drug issues. And I don't know if that's the place, because I think they're doing some remodeling over here, and maybe that's what they are doing. But I'm just wondering, what's your thoughts about that? Because you have a lot of people that do just kind of sit in your office and just hang
Yeah,
out and
we
need
do.
showers and.
Yeah, we do, just because of the desperation of the people that we're trying to help. I think there's many different models of housing people, and I think that could possibly be one. But the other is the project that Tribal Health is working on, which is a drop-in center. I think what they would do is build it into a 24/7. It would be a day drop-in. They even talked about using our office to get started until they get a space. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And just as a shout out to Tribal Health, I have to tell you, Dr. Fox has really broken down some barriers, and we've been able to get people into treatment at Royal Life quickly. Last year, we assisted about 40 people to get in. So far this year, the number's at about 25. And that's thanks to our collaboration with Tribal Behavioral Health. So, but as Councilperson Charlo said, we need to do reentry when they come back from treatment also, and really support people when they come back.
Also reentry from prison. I know my son's doing some legwork on some people, and he's noticed one young man that he doesn't even think should be in there because he's got some major non-abilities to do things or even talk. And he thought it was a mental health issue, but I don't want to go down that road yet. That's something I'll figure out and maybe talk to you later on about, but.
Yeah, we can try to follow up with that person.
We had a motion by Carol and a second by Mark. Is that what it was? To approve the org chart adjustments Ann's asking for. All in favor? 6-4, and Jennifer is out of the room. It's approved.
Thanks
you.
very much.
Thanks, Ann. Morning, Velda. Janet, come on up. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So I think we're on page 16 in your packets. So we worked on a master plan for Kicking Horse last fall, and one of the issues that had not been resolved was whether or not we should keep the dormitories. And so we had an inspection in December, and we received the report last week or the week before. And what we found was that it's going to cost basically sorry, I have a percentage in here. With the asbestos remediation and all of the things that need to be done to make that habitable, according to code, it will cost between $400 and $450 a square foot, or $5.2 million to $5.85 million to renovate just the female dorm. The male dorm needs further study regarding demolition or use for storage. Basically, we looked at it for potential uses. If you decide to use it as a youth hostel or any other uses other than its current use for, housing for 30 days or more, it could cost even more than that to renovate it. So the action we're requesting today is, do you want to demolish it due to the projected renovation costs of up to $5.85 million? Or do you want to not do anything with it at this point?
Questions? Carol? Well, I was hoping maybe we had a dollar number to tell us what it's gonna cost to demolish.
Oh.
And then at the, also a cost of actually building a facility of the same size from scratch. I'd like to know those two costs. Carol?
I really don't think that's a place for people that, that are homeless or don't have jobs. I don't know, it just seems like a different atmosphere out there. I think it's a place for people to live, like those houses should be demolished back there that are all boarded up, so people can bring in, double wides or whatever the case may be, build it up for a living environment. But I don't think it's really set up for a homeless. I think those little tiny homes kind of fit in there, but not a whole bunch of them. But I just think this needs to be demolished. I think those houses need to be gone and get it prepared for people to be able to to place a home in there. And maybe that'll be more affordable for them if that's the case. And then Dewar talked about they're building out there, and I know some staff are for it and some staff are against, but whatever, at least get it cleaned up and get it prepared if that's what we choose to do for the building for them.
Other questions, thoughts?
We didn't go forward with the demo cost or the cost to build new because we didn't know what use you wanted to put out there. But what the homelessness committee had been saying for the past year or so is it's the same thing that Carol said. It's not a good place to put homeless because of transportation issues, it's recommended that, something be developed in towns for the homeless, and that, again, maybe renovate those lots out there for single-family dwellings, small single-family dwellings, 2-bedroom on those bigger lots, and maybe tiny homes on those smaller lots. But as far as the dorm goes, when I had spoken with John Nice, he was saying that those dorms get broken into a couple times a week. So there's a security and a liability issue out there. And so at least with the female dorm, we had talked about possibly putting Dewar there, building a brand new building, but we did not get that cost yet. We'd have to hire an architect to do that. For this particular study that is in front of you, that the architects provided that for free. The asbestos report was paid for, but the other pages in the previous part of the document, that was done for free by Jacola. So again, if we want to do more analysis, they'll charge us for that.
Carol?
I would like to make a motion. I don't know if council's ready. Make a motion to go ahead and demolish and find out cost of demolition and cost of demolition of the houses in the back. I just think there's opportunity there for a lot of families, but it's got to be cleaned up. So I'm ready to make a motion to at least do a study of what it's going to cost us to get it clean. And I would work with Mary Rose I mean, maybe she doesn't have the ability or the time or whatever, but definitely she did the bathhouse. She had that ready to go until we changed our mind on it. So I know she would be one that we could probably look to.
Go ahead, Bing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Janet, is this both dorms or just the one dorm?
This
for
is
females?
just the one dorm, the
There-
female dorm. So you can imagine the cost would be even more to do both dorms. We haven't looked at the cost to demo a portion of the male dorm and then use a portion of that for storage. That's an additional study because it would be a different type of use. So if you'd want to keep that part of that male dorm for storage, then we'd have to get that cost estimated as well.
Well, Carol has a motion in place to proceed with basically finding out what it's gonna cost to do demolition on the dormitories as well as the houses. Is
The
that
whole
enough for
thing.
now?
The whole thing.
Yeah. Any thoughts? Is there a second?
Yep.
Second by Martin. All in favor? That's 7-4. And Jennifer's abstaining.
Alrighty, thank you so much. I'd like to come in hopefully next week with the report on the sewage treatment also for Kicking Horse. We received a preliminary engineering report. We have 3 options. We're going to be meeting about it with staff, and then hopefully I'll have an update for you next week.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Really do.
Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Velda. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
And we get Dan a little early? Okay. Morning, Dan. Morning.
Good morning, my name is Matea. Oh, sorry. My name is Matea Grant. I know most of you, but I just wanted to, I guess, introduce myself to those who don't, or aren't familiar with who I am. But I am the new Research and Review Board Director. And so I just kind of wanted to say hello and, I'm here now, or I guess the position is filled and, just if you guys have any questions regarding research or want to meet individually, in regards to anything research related, like I would be happy to meet and, I will be seeing you guys more often and we're just kind of getting going on this new department and, meeting with the board and, we will be back with lots of information and everything. So that's kind of why I'm here.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yay, Matea. I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you. I'm excited to see you.
You're so awesome. You're going to be wonderful in this position. I look forward to seeing what you're doing. And I'm glad we get to work together again. And, one thing I think about when I think about this position is the tribe's opportunity, because sometimes we need studies done. And when we have to do consultations with people, with entities or individuals to do studies for us, they cost a lot of money. And there might be students who might be interested in taking on a research project that we need. So I think that's an opportunity with this kind of position, as you start building a network of researchers. And, you know, maybe that could be something that could happen in the future to say, hey, CSKT is really interested in whatever. Do you know anybody who's studying that, who might be willing to partner with them or work with them to study this certain thing more extensively? You know, and just kind of build those partnerships and those relationships. I think it's exciting.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and especially the student resources, and so I will, yeah, I guess do that, and thank you. You know, I will take note of that and anything else along those lines and, you know, how to do that process, like, I would be, I guess I'll be reaching out if I have any questions as well.
Yeah. Oh, just to follow up. So sometime in the near future, we're going to have Dr. Luana Ross come here and meet with us. And she's a retired professor who has taught at Berkeley, and she most recently retired from the University of Washington in Seattle. And her field of study is tribal criminal justice, and she wrote a book about women, Indian women who are incarcerated, or Indian people who've been incarcerated. And she's like a master researcher. So I would love for you to meet her when she comes. And so I would like to connect you just so you can meet her, and maybe she can connect you to other people, other researchers and people in academia,
Yeah, that would be
Indigenous
great.
people in academia. I think she would be a great connection for you.
Thank you. And Luana Ross, is that her name? Okay, thank you. Yeah, that would be great.
Well, congratulations and welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody else?
All
Cool.
right. Well, thank you. Have a good day,
Thank you.
everyone.
Out of regular into executive.
To provide the wording for the motion for the council. If you're still on.
You run away.
She ran away. Okay, well, yeah,
I'll motion, Mr. Chair, that we authorize the legal department to
to oversee it,
Submit submit a grant application for the courts and prosecution or
probation trainings.
Probation.
Yeah. Okay.
Motion by Carol, second by Danielle. All in favor? Unanimous.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
Dan.
thank you for your time, council, and
Jen?
Oh, after he's done, can we go back in executive for Jordan Thompson for his update he can do now instead of at the end of the day?
Okay. We'll go out of regular back into executive. We have the question of a contract in front of us. Motion by Carol to look at, I'm not even gonna try to say the name of the gal. A sole source contract with this gal for, doing the strategic planning, helping facilitate the strategic planning under CTAS. Second by Danielle. All in favor? We're unanimous.
Yeah, she will also be part of the team that'll be leading that 3 to 4 hour virtual session that will start to get scheduled.
All right, well, thank you, and sorry we won't be out on the river on Thursday, but we'll do that later on. So thanks, council.
Thank you all. Well, we'll break for lunch, I guess. And then 1 o'clock, I know Martin and Danielle will be on their way. Okay, that, we might need you.
Oh,
Tom
I'll
should be back by 2.
I'll be back on, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, James.
Back at 1, you said?
1, yeah, we're on at 1 with MVP.
All right.
I don't know if we have action items with that.
Right. I'll be
Oh,
back
it's
on.
more or less an update.
And so we'll hopefully get Tom back and have a quorum by the time we're doing the interviews. Martin?
Could I just have one of you guys thank MVP for their, and I know it wasn't only MVP, but BPA or Bonneville for their quick response yesterday. It was 2 hours of my dad not have electricity, but could have been a lot longer, a lot worse. So, and thankful that no one got hurt either. Just extend that to Zach, please.
Will do. So we're in recess for lunch. Back at 1.
Did you want me to proceed?
Yep, you can start, Brian. This is just the White Earth Nation topic.
Yes, sir. So, a couple weeks ago, one of the attorneys in the negotiated rulemaking committee process, Jeff Stromer from the Hobbs Strauss firm, asked if CSKT might be willing to talk with the White Earth band of Lake Superior, Ojibwe in Minnesota about the bison range experience. White Earth is looking to, I think, heighten their involvement with the Tamarack National Wildlife Refuge, half of which is on the White Earth Reservation. So we said yes, and they replied, and then we asked for a little information on exactly what they'd like to hear about or talk about from CSKT. And they replied, it sounds like their tribal council, which they call the Reservation Business Committee, is pretty interested in generally hearing about your experience at the bison range and just, kind of asking questions as they may come up. They're also proposing to have as part of this discussion, part of your audience, their lobbyist and PR team. So I'm not sure how big the team is, but they indicated that their lobbyist and PR team would be interested in hearing about kind of some of the challenges CSKT faced with opposition to your efforts at the bison range. They indicated that a few of their projects are also engendering local opposition. I'm guessing if it's not already, including their refuge management efforts, that they're anticipating it. So they're interested in that as well. And to remind you, they're interested in 2 meetings. One, their tribal council or reservation business committee is interested in meeting with you. And that's the one that they're interested in having their PR and lobbyist team be involved with. And then they're asking for a separate meeting between their natural resources department staff and your natural resources department staff. And they're asking for about an hour of your time to have that discussion, the council to council discussion. In their email that contained a lot of this information from July 18th, which I forwarded to you and I can forward again if it's convenient, they have proposed dates, but they also attached a very new memorandum of agreement between the White Earth Band and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And I also realized I just misreferenced them. They're not part of the Lake Superior Ojibwe. They're part of the Minnesota Chippewa tribe. So apologies for that. But their MOA is interesting because it's not like a self-governance agreement. It doesn't transfer funds. It doesn't have that kind of formal involvement on the tribe's part, but it is seemingly on paper a really good step towards a really good constructive relationship between the band and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. It involves the service making commitments to the band about having them involved at every step for planning and management planning and activities, and it formalizes some collaboration between the two and information sharing on tribal member access, including for ceremonies and ricing, trapping, a lot of activities. This refuge over there is like the bison range,
very unique in that it has its own specific history. It has a memorandum of agreement between the BIA and the Fish and Wildlife Service Biological Survey at that time from the 1930s. So their rights, the tribe's rights at that refuge and their history with it, as well as its location being half on the reservation, is also very different than most any other refuge, just for your background knowledge. But the other thing I'll point out to you is that this memorandum of agreement is interesting because it's between the band and the Fish and Wildlife Service, and it's signed by Will Meeks, who is the regional director out of Minneapolis. And everything that he learned from you and CSKT here, he's taken with him, and that's benefited, I think, White Earth, because this agreement, if it's, you know, honored and I think the way that the tribes intended to be, is a good step. It's constructive. And what I know of Will Meeks, I think he would try to make the spirit of it live up to the letter of the MOA. So we'll see what happens. My assumption is that the White Earth Band is going to want to do something more, and this is a step towards that process, but I don't know much more about what their ultimate objectives are. So sorry for the kind of long-winded background, but that's about as much as I know. And what I wanted to get direction from you is if you would just like me to work with Jennifer, if you had any questions that they are proposing. They've given helpfully 6 different days in August spanning the month that they would be available, and they wanted to know if you might be available those days and times. So I can either work with Jennifer, or I can ask them more questions, or do whatever you'd like me to do at this point.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if we shouldn't get the council folks who actually were present during the Bison Range activity and invite them to the meeting as well. They would have more experience than I know I have with it. I don't know who all was present then. I know Carol definitely was. I'm thinking James might have been part of that. I don't know that, James Steele. And Bing, I don't know, were you part of that? Some of it? No. Hear me? Jennifer, I think that was a little before you. It was before me.
Mr. Chair.
So we'll have pretty good representation just from us then. But there might be others that might be interested in giving their perspective.
Do you want me to contact anybody, or is there?
Well, I'd need to know who was present at the time, and I would be glad to try to contact and see if they wanted to participate. But I'll have to figure out the time periods.
I'm sorry?
I'd have to figure out the time periods, so.
One person that's coming to mind immediately that was pretty involved, who's no longer on council, is Steve Lozar. He went to a lot of the negotiations in Denver and was very involved. But yeah, James, you know, Tom obviously from a different perspective has seen all of this.
Yep.
Yeah, Rhonda. Yeah, there will be some others that probably come to mind too, but yeah, Rhonda and Steve would be two really good folks.
I imagine that's the kind of experience that White Earth is really wondering about.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Did I track you correctly that you would contact them, or do you want?
I can contact
Okay.
them.
If you want anything from me, just let me know. I'll be on standby for anything. And if I think of some other folks that were on council, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
And as far as timing, I guess just work with Jennifer for a time when we can get.
Okay.
Might as well be a council day, an hour.
Okay. I will do that. I know Vice Chair McDonald can speak to this, but for those of you who weren't on council then, we sent, CSKT kind of made a similar request like this to the Grand Portage Band of Lake Superior, Ojibwe back in 2018, I think. And went out to Grand Portage, also in northern Minnesota, with Will Meeks. He went to that too, to kind of sit down with National Park Service and Grand Portage Band of tribal officials to hear about their successful relationship, a self-governance relationship. So Will also is bringing that to the table for White Earth, which is helpful, and that was something that CSKT initiated. And I think you'll be able to hear from Vice Chair McDonald. Everyone I spoke to, you know, Vice Chair included, Will Meeks, Dale Becker, Leonard Gray went from the council at that time. Got a lot out of that visit. It was like a 2-day visit. So I'm sure the White Earth Band will really appreciate kind of getting the same and hearing from you. So Chairman, I'll work with Jennifer on the scheduling and pass on any other names I think of tribal council, and then just get back to White Earth.
You were the main participant from the legal team? Would there be others in
Yes.
the legal team that might have another perspective as well?
Shane will, but other than that, it would really be Rhonda. Obviously Ryan has insights too, but I think Shane, you know, especially lifelong and all the drama of the restoration era, I mean, he would be good as well.
And then with natural resources, I'm wondering if there are folks that were part of natural resources that participated at Bison Range that are not in natural resources right now, whether inviting them to the natural resources meeting might be helpful as well.
Yeah, I would defer to NRD on that. Yeah. Cool, okay. I will work with Jennifer and move this forward. And if I didn't make it clear before, we're waiting for them to get some proposed dates for the NRD meeting. And then that'll move forward as well. And that'll just, I guess they'll just schedule that on their own unless you want them to ask you before they schedule something.
I don't know why. I think we're gonna take care of that.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
James?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was before the handover time, but Brian and I particularly were, and Carol and Jimmy were there when we had some of the roughest times when we got kicked off the range and battling with Fish and Wildlife Service. And so if they want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, we can elaborate about the ugly side of it. And I also have a prop that Brian and I both have with our signatures on it from a Kumbaya session we had back in DC. I think it was, Brian, right? Was that DC or Denver? I cannot remember.
Yeah, that was DC.
Yeah, that was one of those memento token things that you're not quite sure what to do with.
Not so he was involved whenever we went to the hill and yeah, to interior. So the answer is yes, but less in the mix of things.
Well, I think we can go forward. Thank you. Out of regular crap. Exciting. Shall we start with SKC? They need a motion.
Motion to accept our interview ballot results and appoint Selena Kinmel and Eldina Berdonwalk to the SKC College Board for 4-year terms each.
Do you need a second?
Need a second.
Second?
Second by Jennifer. All in favor? Unanimous. And then on to gaming, we have Susie Schrock and Carol, what's Carol's last name? Olin. Motion by Jimmy to install Susie Schrock and Carol Olin to the gaming LLC for 3-year terms. Need a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jennifer. All in favor? Unanimous. Next, we have S&K Business Services, and we only had the incumbent that applied. So to accept Randy Tennis as that incumbent. Motion by Bing, second by Carol. All in favor? Unanimous. For credit committee, we have only Bud Gillen as the applicant. Motion by Carol, second by Bing. All in favor? Unanimous. Shoreline Protection Board, Ray Ochoa. Only application as the incumbent to install Ray. Motion by Carol, second by Jimmy. All in favor? Unanimous. And S&K Electronics has 3 vacancies and 3 incumbents who are all applying, and the only applicants, and that's Tom Farrell, Larry Hall, and Delilah Friedlander. Motion by Carol to install those 3. Second by Bing. All in favor? Unanimous. That gets us done there. Thank you all. Motion by Carol to adjourn. Any objections? We're adjourned. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, James.